Hi, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another one of my videos. I'd realised that it's been quite a while since I've done any kind of show and tell or talking about stuff, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a recap on a previous video where I was talking about these. These are 30-year-old skate shoes. These are Vision Streetwear Shockwaves. I'm going to do a bit of a recap and update on the situation. So yes, thanks for joining me. Thanks very much to those that keep coming back. The keen-eyed amongst you will notice that most of my videos are about 6 months behind at least. If you want to keep up with me in a bit more real time, then follow me on Instagram. I have an Instagram channel dedicated to my skateboarding, and you'll see the link here below. So with those formalities out the way, let's get on with today's subject. And as I said in the intro, we're talking about these Vision Streetwear Shockwaves that I have had for a very, very long time. They're probably 30 years old, and I've kept them kind of near mint condition for most of that time until last year when I decided that I might as well just skate them. I previously had quite an extensive collection of old school 80s, 90s skate shoes, mostly Vision Streetwear and Airwalk, and some of them were beginning to deteriorate after years of being in storage. So, you know, they were getting to the point where they weren't even wearable. You know, it's one thing to keep shoes as collector's items and keep them in mint condition, but I sort of feel that even at that point, if they become unwearable, there's almost no point keeping them as, you know, something to look at. It's almost like the magic of them has gone when they become really crusty and the rubber starts to turn to plastic and they start to fall apart. I had that happen with a couple of pairs, and I thought, well, before that happens to these, I'm going to skate them and, you know, relive what it felt like back in the 80s to wear these shoes to skate in. So check out the video in the link below or up here, whichever side it is, and that will show you the original video I did when I started skating them, and you'll have seen maybe that I've been wearing them for the past year or so, and they've held up really well, and I've been really happy with them. And you know, the soles are still good, the leather is still good, the suede, everything is still good. The reason that I've stopped wearing them is literally that I've burnt the toes out on them, and not the top of the toes, but actually the toe rubber at the front. So they've started to, this one's a better one to show you actually, they've started to literally peel away, and you know, when your shoes start talking, it's probably time to stop wearing them. Now, they'd done that already perhaps a few months before, and I bought a restitching tool and I restitched them. So around the edge of these kind of shoes you get the stitching, and what had happened was that the toes had burned out and it had broken through that stitching, and that's what made it begin to flap. So I bought a stitching tool and I restitched them properly, you know, all the way through to the inside and back out again, you know, properly how shoes are normally stitched, and that saved them for a bit longer. And at the same time as stitching them, I used some kind of liquid rubber to squirt in there and spread out and replace the rubber, and I actually covered the whole toe cap in that to try and make it last a bit longer. To their credit, the leather has lasted really well. It's still there, still solid. It's just the rubber that's burned away. They're sort of at the point where I can't really wear them. I might have one last ditch attempt to do them up again. I've got some more liquid rubber called shoe goo. We used to use that back in the 80s. You plaster it all over your shoes and it just makes them last a bit longer. I've got some more of that and I might give it another go, just, you know, what the hell, because they're pretty useless without, and I can't really wear them otherwise. So, you know, I'll see what happens, see what comes of it. But really, suffice to say that they've lasted so well. I'm not even sure these days that skate shoes are even made of real leather anymore. I think it might be synthetic, but these being real leather, they've stood up really well, and you know, everything is still completely solid about the leather, which is surprising. But you know, the reason why I burn through toes so much is not from doing tricks where I'm flicking. I actually burn through the toes by knee sliding. So I skate transition. If you follow my channel much, you'll know that I'm like 99% transition skater, and if I'm doing a trick or trying something and I'll bail, I will bail to my knee pads, and that means that when you go down on your knees, your feet are scraping along the floor, your toes scrape along the floor as you knee slide, and it's always that point that rubs on the toe and it burns away the rubber there. And that's really why I don't like to skate shoes that don't have a rubber toe cap, because it's right at that point around the seam that gets the most burned away, and immediately the first point of failure is the sole, the join between the sole and the shoe upper itself. And so that's why, you know, these are great shoes, really comfy, lots of padding. High tops, you know, I love high tops because they protect your ankles. That ball joint on your ankle that always gets smacked by the board, high tops protect that really well. But it's just that front edge that gets burnt out. And so usually I like to skate shoes with big fat toe caps like this, and as you can see, you know, I've been skating these for a very long time and the toe caps are still intact, which means the rest of the shoes are still intact. However, the downside of these shoes is that they're not high tops, they're lows, and I just much prefer the ankle protection of high tops. So I'd really love it if shoe companies would make toe caps on high top shoes with lots of padding. You don't really see that so much these days. So hopefully that's given you an update on the shoes, and I thought at the same time I would update you on these insoles that I was using. They are the Footprint Elite insoles, and I was using these inside those Vision Streetwears because the original insoles were just that thin EVA foam, which you know, it's not great. Old man's feet, you know, they need a bit more protection than just EVA foam. So you know, cup soled shoes are great for old man's feet, and you just need some decent insoles as well. So yeah, I've been really happy with these Footprint insoles. They've worked really well. I've had a lot of questions on the video that I did about these insoles, and you can go back and have a look at that video if you like, but I've had some questions about them and about how well they stood up. I'm really happy with them, not a lot to say to the negative about them. I was also asked how well they compare to the Vans Ultra Cush or Pop Cush insoles, and I have to say personally I think they're pretty similar. The main difference being that these are a bit stiffer until your feet warm up. When your feet warm up and these then warm up as well, they go a bit more squishy like the Vans. So I feel like they're very similar to the Vans in comfort. They might offer better impact protection from jumping down huge stair sets, but I don't do that, so I have no idea. But jumping or bailing from coping down, you know, a 6-foot ramp into the flat or something, they certainly help with that, and they're much better for me than vulcanized shoes. You know, cup sole shoes with some nice insoles like this are really my highly recommended thing. So if you were waiting to hear what my thoughts were on these, then yeah, I would say go for it. I definitely get the Elite ones rather than the thinner ones that I showed in previous videos as well, because they're a bit thicker and have much better heel protection, and they have kind of a very cupped heel, so you know, it generally is better all round really. So there you go, something of an update, just to tell you that I'll do some more of these kind of show and tell type videos if people are interested in things like the shoes I'm wearing or the gear that I'm using. I've got some more videos coming up for talking about pads and the shoes that I've been going through. So thanks for watching. I hope you found that interesting. Go back and watch the original videos if you have no idea what I'm talking about with this update. And yeah, I'll catch you again soon. Take care.